Have you ever heard of a sentence so long it feels like it stretches into eternity? Today, we're diving into a case that's not just a crime story, but a bizarre and unforgettable legal saga. This is the story of Colin Ferguson and the 315-year prison sentence that sealed his fate. It is a tale that begins on a seemingly ordinary day but ends with a courtroom drama you truly have to hear to believe. December 7, 1993. It's rush hour in New York City. Commuters are packed onto a Long Island Railroad train, heading home after a long day. They're reading newspapers, listening to music, thinking about dinner, just another Tuesday evening. But for the passengers in the third car of the 5:33 p.m. train from Penn Station, this mundane commute was about to turn into a nightmare. As the train pulled into the Maryland Avenue station in Garden City, a man named Colin Ferguson stood up. He was carrying a semi-automatic handgun. Without warning, he began walking down the aisle, methodically firing at passengers. Panic erupted. People screamed, ducked for cover, and tried to flee, but there was nowhere to go. The enclosed space of the train car became a scene of unimaginable terror. Ferguson continued firing, reloading his weapon as he went. His expression was reportedly calm, almost detached, which made the attack even more chilling. The rampage was only stopped when three brave passengers, Michael O'Connor, Kevin Tierney, and Andrew Moskowitz, tackled him to the ground as he tried to reload his weapon a second time. They held him down until police arrived, but the damage was done. In just a few minutes, 6 people had lost their lives, and 19 others were wounded. The lives of everyone on that train and their families were shattered forever. So who was Colin Ferguson? He was a 35-year-old Jamaican immigrant who had moved to the United States in 1982. On the surface, he seemed to be chasing the American dream. He attended college and held various jobs, but beneath that exterior, a deep-seated anger and paranoia were brewing. He had been fired from a job at the New York State Unemployment Office and had filed several complaints alleging racial discrimination, none of which were substantiated. He carried with him a collection of handwritten notes filled with paranoid ramblings and a deep-seated rage against white people, Asians, and even Uncle Tom, black people. He called it Black Rage. These notes revealed a man who felt wronged by society and was plotting a violent, indiscriminate revenge. The aftermath of the shooting sent shockwaves across the nation. It sparked intense debates about gun control, racism, and mental health. But the story was far from over. In fact, the most surreal chapter was just beginning: the trial. From the very start, Colin Ferguson's trial was anything but ordinary. He dismissed his highly competent defense attorneys, William Kunstler and Ron Kuby, who planned to argue that he was not guilty by reason of insanity. They believed Ferguson was suffering from a paranoid personality disorder and was not mentally fit to stand trial. The evidence seemed to support this. His Black Rage defense and bizarre notes pointed to a disturbed mind. But Ferguson disagreed. He insisted he was not insane and wanted to represent himself. In a move that stunned the legal world, the judge, after a competency hearing, granted his request. Colin Ferguson, the man accused of a horrific mass shooting, was now his own lawyer. What followed was a courtroom spectacle that bordered on the absurd. Ferguson cross-examined the very people he had shot. He would ask a survivor on the stand, "Were you present on the train on December 7th when you were shot?" And then follow up with questions about the events, referring to the shooter in the third person. He even questioned the police officers who arrested him, trying to poke holes in their testimony. His legal strategy was baffling. He claimed that a mysterious white man had actually committed the shooting and then escaped the train, leaving the gun for him to find. He argued that there were 93 counts against him only because the year was 1993. He suggested that one of the victims, who had a similar name to a character in an old TV show, was part of a conspiracy. During his opening statement, he told the jury that he was not the shooter, but just a passenger on the train, like everyone else. The prosecution, led by District Attorney Dennis Dillon, methodically presented their case. They had overwhelming evidence, dozens of eyewitnesses who identified Ferguson as the gunman, the weapon found in his possession, and his own paranoid notes. The survivors, one by one, took the stand and bravely recounted the horror of that day, pointing directly at Ferguson as the man who had shot them. Their testimony was powerful, emotional, and damning. Despite the gravity of the situation, Ferguson's courtroom antics continued. He questioned his own victims about their injuries with a chilling lack of empathy. To one woman he had shot, he asked if she was certain it was him, forcing her to relive the moment she looked into his eyes as he pulled the trigger. The jury and the entire courtroom watched in disbelief as the man responsible for so much pain cross-examined his own victims, re-traumatizing them on the stand. It was a legal circus, but one where the pain and suffering were all too real. The trial lasted for weeks, but the outcome was never really in doubt. The jury took just 10 hours to deliberate. On February 17, 1995, they found Colin Ferguson guilty on 6 counts of murder and 19 counts of attempted murder. The verdict brought a sense of relief and closure to the victims and their families who had endured not only the attack but also the excruciating trial. Then came the sentencing. On March 22, 1995, Judge Donald E. Belfi handed down the sentence. For each of the 6 murder counts, Ferguson received 25 years to life. For the 19 attempted murder counts, he received the maximum sentence for each. The judge ordered the sentences to be served consecutively, one after the other. The grand total? 315 years to life in prison. The judge made it clear that Ferguson should never ever be eligible for parole. He called Ferguson a selfish, cowardly killer who had shown no remorse. The sentence was one of the longest in New York State history. It was a symbolic gesture, a way for the justice system to say that the gravity of his crimes was so immense that no amount of time could ever truly account for it. 315 years. It's a number that's hard to even comprehend. It ensures that Colin Ferguson will spend every remaining day of his life behind bars, a permanent reminder of the lives he destroyed. Today, Colin Ferguson is serving his sentence at the Upstate Correctional Facility in New York. The Long Island Railroad Massacre remains a dark chapter in New York's history, but it's also a story of incredible bravery. The bravery of the passengers who subdued the gunman, the bravery of the survivors who faced him again in court, and the enduring strength of the families who lost loved ones. The case forced society to confront difficult questions about gun violence, mental illness, and the justice system. Could this have been prevented? What happens when a clearly disturbed individual is allowed to represent themselves in court? These questions don't have easy answers. The 315-year sentence wasn't just about punishment. It was about sending a message. It was a declaration that an act of such profound violence against innocent people would be met with the full, unwavering force of the law. It is a story that serves as a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the relentless pursuit of justice, even in the face of unimaginable tragedy. Thank you for watching. This case is a heavy one, and it's a reminder of how fragile life can be. If you found this story compelling, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into fascinating legal cases. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.